In this video, we're going to talk about visual storytelling, the Kulesov-effect, the film montage, different kind of shots and when to use them, and how controlling focusing is more important than just keeping our objects sharp. Hey everyone, my name is Dom and this is Filmmaking Simplified, where we talk about everything that belongs to the art of filmmaking. Thousands of years before the first film, people were already telling stories with images. There are the prehistoric cave drawings, the hieroglyphics and wall paintings from ancient Egypt, the Bayeux Tapestry, which is a 70 meters long embroidery about the story of the conquest of England by William, Duke of Normandy in 1066, and not to mention all those beautiful frescoes like the one in the Sixtus Chapel. And the list could go on for longer than films have been around for. People have a peculiar sense and desire for images, and unlike reading letters, reading images and understanding them comes naturally. Obviously, reading an image can also be a more complex task, especially because pictures have the power of making each of our imaginations associate to something entirely different. And that is why it's super important what we show on screen and that we are fully aware of the purpose as to what we, the filmmakers, want the viewer to understand. Lev Kuleshov, the Russian filmmaker from the early 20th century, wasn't very good at mathematics. He said that 1 + 1 = 3. Okay, I know, super boring joke and story, but it's pretty much my obligation to talk about him a little. Now, obviously, he wasn't talking about real algebra, but something much more important regarding the art of filmmaking. Kuleshov is famous for his experiment in which he shows two scenes after one another and the combination will create a third meaning. In his experiment, he used the expressionless face of an actor and cut in 3 other shots after it: a bowl of food, a girl in a coffin, and a woman on a couch. The viewer is supposed to see a different emotion on the actor's face after each image. For example, after the bowl of soup, the viewer sees him hungry. After the girl in the coffin, he seemed to be under grief or sadness that we should see. This is what we call a film montage, the very core of filmmaking. This proves that a filmmaker can control the emotions of the viewer and the story that they will understand from it. In a montage, you can leave out parts of a process without the narrative being damaged. This is the beauty of filmmaking, visual storytelling without words. It's not the first video where I say everything you show and use in your movie has to have a purpose. The simplest example is that we see someone leaving and then we see them arriving. From the combination of these two scenes, we know that our character went from A to B. If the journey is not important, it makes no sense to show it. And also we don't need it to understand that he went from A to B. When we talk about a montage, it's mostly associated with editing though, but it's more than that. While making a film, even during the script writing process, it's important that we decide what the camera will show, because the #1 goal is to tell the story with images, not with words. So yes, the montage is best if it's already written and planned before you start shooting, because that way you can figure out everything in detail, from how the shot will transition into each other to maybe even timing it precisely to music. Of course, it can also happen that you have to alter the scene while editing, or the idea of a montage comes only during post-production, and it's also not the worst thing. But in general, it's best to plan everything ahead, even a montage. In order for a story to be told properly, solely with pictures, we have to choose the right shots. Different shots say completely different things, have different meanings, and therefore functions. I will talk about different shots and how to use them in another video, so once I make it, it will be available right up here. For now though, let's talk about the 2 most important shot types in my opinion: the wide shot and the close-up. A wide shot will show you where your subject is and how the surroundings are related to it. Close-ups are very important to precisely define moments, emotions, roles, and connections between characters, or showing key elements in a scene. Often, if a close-up is missing, so will be the information it would have given. And maybe you, the creator, knows that information, but all the viewer will ever know is what they see, and you are in charge of that. When you're deciding the shots of your movie, you're deciding the words and sentences they will say. Remember that you have to know the sentences before you decide the shots, because you define the shots with your words to tell the story and not the other way around. For example, if the scene is about a guy getting home to an apartment that he once shared with somebody dear to him, what will we want to show? First of all, that he gets home and that he is alone in the apartment, and then we have to show something that says that he's missing somebody. Maybe him holding a picture frame and looking at the couch that's just empty without the person he's missing. A scene like this can be perfectly told with a montage that we talked about before. Let's take a look at two solutions. The first one is the play it safe method, where we basically have a master shot. When it comes to a master shot, I always prefer to do it with the camera moving and creating an in-camera montage already. But for this example, the camera will stay in one place and only do the necessary small little adjustments. So now let's take a look at what this scene looks like from a master shot. And after that, we're gonna go ahead and use different kinds of shots to tell the story more precisely. So as you could have seen, we basically have the scene in this master shot, but we don't get that accurate information as to what the actor is feeling, what we have to focus on. We kind of put the picture together, but if I haven't told you what the story was about, would you understand it? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. And that's why we're gonna take a look at the next version, where we're gonna decide how we want to show things, deciding the sentences. So my first sentence is that he gets home and that he is alone. This will be a wide shot of him entering an apartment, which is empty. The second sentence has to be that he feels alone, so the next shot will be a close-up of his face to show his emotions. The next one is that he is missing somebody. This can be a close-up first of a picture frame he lifts up, followed once again by a close-up of his face. And finally, to emphasize that he is really missing somebody, we do a subjective shot of him holding the picture frame looking at a couch, for example. Obviously, the way our actor is able to act is also really important, but in terms of film language, we have to focus on how we tell the story. So now let's take a look at this version. So there you go, which one worked better for you? Let me know in the comment section. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is how you use focusing. If you paid attention in the past two clips, the latter one used focusing also as a way of driving attention. It's also very important in filmmaking, as our eyes can't help themselves but to focus on what's sharp in the image. For example, in the shot where we see him walk towards the desk where we have the picture frame, even before he goes there to pick it up, we know what he's gonna do. The art of filmmaking is all about using everything we've got to make sure that the viewer will understand the story we want to tell and the way we want to tell it. Therefore, paying attention to the smallest little detail is crucial, and that includes everything starting from what the actors are wearing, the colors of a movie, the set design, the shots we use, where the focus is, and much more that I will cover in future videos. So if you feel like you learned something today from this one, hit the subscribe button and leave a like. Both really helps growing this community. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Ciao.